Get ready for some real, relatable, and motivational conversations with podcast host Angela A. Love Lewis. Join her and her guests as they empower you to deal with the inner you so you can heal, believe, and lead yourself to the life of your dreams. It's time to take the limits off and experience true InnerVation. Let's get to it.
Hello, and welcome to InnerVation, motivating you from the inside out. I am your podcast host, Angela A. Love Lewis, and I am excited to be here today because my guest is someone who is so deep, honey. I think you all are going to love her. I love how she thinks. I love how she shows up in the world, and this is just going to be some good conversation. You know, we talk about, when we talk about motivating you from the inside out, it's really important to know about healing. And sometimes you have to heal from the baggage that you carry inside so that you can believe what's possible. And then from there, lead yourself to your greatest life. And so today is going to be someone who can give us some insight on some things. So my special guest is Paula R. Amor, and she's going to come on and definitely give us some great commentary as it pertains to that. Paula, thank you so much and welcome to the InnerVation podcast.
Hello, Miss A. Love. Yes, I am so excited to be here with you, Angela. And I love this platform. I love the motivation. I love the inspiration. You know, I love you, you know, just the resiliency that I feel through you. I met you actually at a brunch, the CEO District brunch, correct?
Yes, correct.
It's just been amazing. Just your spirit, your smile, just your embrace, you know, as a woman of color. And I just do appreciate you. And I appreciate you appreciating the gifts that are inside of me and my story. But I will say this is the season of the comeback. Okay, this is the comeback season. And I'm excited to be on this platform to share just some key nuggets on what I'm talking about as it relates to the comeback and my story.
Awesome. Well, I will just share, not to get too far into your bio, but Paula is a creative and she is a playwright, a poet, a spoken word phenom. You hear me? She's a performer. She's one of those people that you just get captured as she, you know, starts speaking because her voice is so smooth and eloquent. And so, Paula, share a little bit more about who you are with the audience.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Angela. Well, I'm originally from Long Island, New York. I've lived in Atlanta, Georgia for about 18 years. I moved to Virginia to pursue a career in writing for PBS in 2020. I was there for about a year, and then during the year of 2021, I experienced the tragic loss of my father, April the 3rd of 2021, and coming back to Georgia and moving closer to my family and my friends, you know, for the support of, you know, my healing process, had just really just allowed me to really appreciate the gifts and the talents that God placed on the inside of me. You know, just going on my journey about being a writer, being a poet, being a performer, actress, and an international speaker. And it was until tragedy hit me that lets me know why God placed certain gifts on the inside of me. It was, to me, the gift of writing, of course, but the gift of poetry that revived me in 2021 after the loss of my father. You know, I was sitting there, you know, in just in a state of grief and mourning. And I said, God, you know, I'm going to come up out of this pain because the pain was so severe. And I said, what can I do? Who can I turn to? And just like God had told Moses when he and the children of Israel got to the Red Sea, he said, use what you have in your hand. And at the time, the only thing that I had in my hand was the gift of writing and the gift of articulating my writing ability through poetry. I went back to the stage. I hadn't performed professionally in like 2 years. Right after the pandemic, the pandemic hit, I hadn't performed since 2019. And then we went through the season of the world shutting down and my gifts not being utilized. And God had to resuscitate me through a gift that God had given unto me. And I got back on the platform and I started doing like small venues and I would speak and I felt it, but there was something more that God was trying to show me in the midst of that. He said, I'm going to use your gift not only to heal you, but to help heal others.
Wow.
And so I've just been on this journey, and that's why I call it the comeback. I've been on the journey of God, use me any way that you can. And so, yeah, I run a production company called I Write You On Productions, and I'm just really excited as a Black woman entrepreneur in this season, in this hour. We're in 2022, and I believe that this is the season for the woman to thrive in the gifts and the abilities. No matter what the past has brought us, we are resilient, especially women of color. You know, we're resilient. We have born children through our wombs. We have carried our children for 9 months. You know what I'm saying? Like that alone lets you know that we're resilient and we have patience. You know what I'm saying? So whatever trial that tries to come, and even for those women that have born children, you still have the resiliency in you. You still have the power to withstand the storms. And even in the midst of every storm, Angela, God said he's a storm keeper. And so he said, go and do what I've called you to do. Take the gifts that I've given unto you and be my voice, be my hands, reach those that, you know, like Jesus, when Jesus went out there, he reached out to people through his gifts of healing.
Yes.
You know, through his ability to speak, you know, his ability to love, his ability to manifest resources for the community. And that's what God has been utilizing me to do. I love getting on the platform and on stages and performing. The ability to write scripts, to be able to articulate those scripts that I've written, to be able to stand there. You know, that was a childhood dream of mine. I grew up in Long Island, New York. My field trips were trips to Broadway productions.
Wow.
So I always grew up saying, oh, I want to do that one day. I remember going to see the Rockettes at Radio City Music Hall, and I said, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do. I think I was like in the third grade, you know what I'm saying, and seeing Cats and all these amazing productions back in the day, you know, in the 80s, and remember Fame with Debbie Allen, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's me, you know. And I'm telling you, do not let your childhood dreams die. And again, this is why this is the season of the comeback for us all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like everybody that has survived the beginning of this pandemic, everyone who has survived through COVID and all of this other stuff that's going on in the land, you got to understand, you're still living, you're still alive because God is saying this is the season of the comeback, no matter what it looks like. And so he's going to take gifts and abilities to get his word, get his healing, get his love to people in the earth. And so I'm excited. I have a tour coming up for my production, Regal, the American Black Woman. We're going to start the tour off in April. I decided to take a mental break, Angela. I needed a mental break, okay?
Yes.
And there is nothing wrong with us, especially women of color, taking a mental break. Sometimes we are the strongest vessels in our households. We are the strongest vessels in our church communities. We are the strongest vessels, you know, the educational system, like teachers. You know, women make up majority of the teachers in the educational field, you know, nurses, like all of these things, all of these superhero things that we as women do. Sometimes it's okay to take a sabbatical, to take a mental break. And allow yourself to be refreshed, to be renewed. So God can say, listen, this is your season for the comeback. And you're gonna take what you have and you're gonna part Red Seas with it. And so you know, I'm writing several books that will be coming out in 2022. They're audio books, as you stated. You know, one of the other gifts that I'm just so in awe with every time I go to perform is my voice. Now, I have apparently been gifted, if you will, with the ability to transform my voice when I go to perform. And it's amazing. It's amazing to do that. And so I will be doing my audiobooks because of that gift, to be able to transform my voice and to have such a powerful presence. When I think of people who do like audiobooks like Morgan Freeman, I feel like his voice is very captivating. Anthony Hopkins, he's another actor who I just admire when it comes to like audiobooks and doing, what do you call when they do like on the Discovery Channel, you know, they're narrating.
Yes,
You
yes.
know,
Mm-hmm.
as a narrator, like I definitely want to get into some of that in the year of 2022 as well. And so that's, and you know, being a mother, I have two beautiful, blessed children. I have a 31-year-old son and I have a 25-year-old daughter who will be turning 26 February the 7th. Actually, that's
Okay.
like in 2 days. Yes. And then I have three grandchildren, a 17-year-old, 15-year-old, and a 5-year-old grandson and two beautiful granddaughters. And so life has been a blessing to me. You know what I'm saying? Life has been a
Yes.
blessing. So that's pretty much it. And then we can get into the whole comeback and the mindset and all that a little later on in the conversation, if you like.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's go back because you touched on some great things here. And one was about the resiliency of women. And I really do believe in that. I know that me and about 25 other ladies got together last year and wrote a book called I Am a Woman Empowered. And it was stories of strength, resiliency, and triumph. And it was about highlighting how we can go through so many things and still be resilient, still, you know, be able to come back from trauma and drama and tragedy and all kinds of things that typically would have been designed to take you out. However, through God's help and grace, you know, we're still here. And so I know one of your posts, you were talking about how we carry around bags of pain. And even though we may achieve some level of success, you still sometimes feel empty behind it. How can you bounce back and become resilient when you are dealing with that type of, you know, I guess maybe pressure and seeing social media and seeing how people, you know, are living certain ways and you think that's the epitome of success? How do you kind of get with people and help them to see that you can still be resilient even if you don't achieve that, or even if you have it and it's still not satisfying for you?
Hi, my name is Angela Lewis, and I am the editor-in-chief of iShine Magazine and host of iShine Podcast. And I come to you now to tell you about an amazing partnership we have with AddVoyces. Yes, we are bringing you next-level, tailor-made audio and video advertisements that can get you in front of the masses. We want to be able to help you showcase your business, get it inside iShine Magazine and on various podcasts. That's right, your very own commercial. And the bonus is you get to keep the content to showcase on your website as well as your social media platforms. You cannot beat that. We want to help you level up in 2022. So join us. Visit us at www.getvisibilitynow.com. And then we will help you to get tailor-made plans that will fit your budget and help you to make an impact like no other. So join us. We look forward to connecting with you.
How do you kind of get with people and help them to see that you can still be resilient even if you don't achieve that, or even if you have it and it's still not satisfying for you?
One of the things I think we need to really focus on to define, like, what is success to you? I think that was the number one thing for me, is to define what is success. I've lived the millionaire status lifestyle. I've lived so many different lifestyles as it relates to the success of the world. But I lived also a lot of dark seasons in wealth. You understand what I'm saying? Like living in a palace but don't have no peace.
Ooh.
So what I decided to do was I decided to say, okay, I don't want to go according to the world's success and what they think success is, or how they see me as a successful Black woman, but what is success to me? And I'm going to tell you, when the revelation, that aha moment came to me, was success was the mere fact that I was a single woman, a single mother, and I raised two successful children. So
Yes.
my success story is not off of the books that I've written, not off the productions that I've created, not off all of these wonderful abilities that the world would deem that you are successful and all these things, and not because of the celebrities that I may know or the great leaders of this world that I know and have personal relationships. But it was the mere fact that I was a teenage mother. I had my first child at 17, my second child at 21, and I was on welfare. I was receiving food stamps. I was homeless a lot of times. Man, I pretty much raised my children. Well, my first child, I raised him in the hood in Georgia. And once my children got of age and they started living their own independent lives, and just watching them be successful at just being a citizen, you know what I'm saying? Just being brilliant and being amazing and tapping into their gifts and tapping into their independence. I said, oh my God, I was a successful mother. And so I let people know, out of everything that I've been through, my success story is my two children. And so even when I dealt with the pain of losing my father and all of the childhood trauma that piled up or reappeared itself in 2021, that was the darkest hour of pain for me, Angela, when I tell you, after my father died, majority of the remainder of those months, I contemplated suicide.
Wow.
Because the pain was so unbearable. I said, God, did you really allow me to come into this earth to just experience hell here on earth, to experience pain, to experience the rejection and the neglect of my parents, first of all? You understand what I'm saying? Dealing with incest and dealing with rape and molestation and being kidnapped and, being on drugs and entering into prostitution. And these are the things that once I got into ministry, I used to testify about all the time. And I just got kind of like overwhelmed with that testimony. And I said, God, well, that's not my testimony anymore. However, this is the season, because if we don't deal with the root of our issues, Angela, we will allow the trauma to take us out. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so I am saying this not to encourage myself, because I'm already encouraged. God allowed me to make it to 2022, honey. I'm encouraged.
Amen.
But this is to encourage someone else. When you can identify your success in the fact that you made it off of drugs, the fact that, yes, your parents might have abandoned you or whatever the case may be, and the pain was so severe and you have abandonment issues. But listen, you are alive. You get to see another day.
Amen.
You get to see your children. You get to see your loved ones. And the pain was the pain was so unbearable, Angela, in 2021. It was numbing me. It was numbing my heart, where I didn't even think, when I was contemplating suicide, I wasn't thinking about my children. You just constantly, you're thinking about all of the pain that you suffer, which numbs your emotions. It causes certain parts of your brain to be blocked, like your memory.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And it was until that day I called my mother. I remember after my father's death, I had went back to Virginia, and I woke up and I said, this is the day that I'm going to take my life. I'm going to call my mother. And I remember calling my mother, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs. And she said, you went back too soon. You went back to Virginia, because I was trying to get back to work. And this is what we do when we're dealing with pain. You know, some people cope with their pain through drugs, alcohol, sex addictions, and all kinds of addictions. Me, I wanted to cope with my work. I just wanted to, lose myself in my work.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? When my mom told me, she said, you went back too soon. She said, you need to come back to your family. She said, because you need to heal around your family. And I'm going to tell you right then and there, the enemy tried to fight me so bad, because the enemy wanted me to be isolated. And that's how most people, when they're in so much pain, they want to isolate themselves. They want to get into that deep place of depression. Because it feels good sometimes to stay in a dark room. It feels good sometimes to pop that pill. It feels good sometimes to take another drink. It feels good sometimes. You understand what I'm saying? Because people say, well, how do you live in your life like this? What makes you think these things? Because sometimes it feels so good because it's temporary relief from the pain.
Wow.
And my mother said to me, you need your family. And I never thought I needed my family because I felt like I was the black sheep of the family. I felt like I was criticized. I felt like no one understood me. I felt like no one defended me. You understand what I'm saying? When I was going through all my childhood trauma, but it was the very thing when scripture says what the devil meant for evil, God will use it for good.
Use it for good, yes.
My God, and I'm telling you, I came back to Georgia. I texted my son at 5 o'clock in the morning because I knew he was up at work. And I said, son, I need to come and I need to sit a couple of weeks at you and your wife's house. I said, because I'm not in a good mental space. And my son responded to me and he said, come on, Mom. And I'm going to tell you something. I thank God that God had his grace and his mercy extended towards me because grace covered me. And I knew it was mercy that was going to heal me. And I'm telling you, I got back and I sat in my son and my daughter-in-law's home. And God began to do a work of healing. And it got to the point where December of 2021, I'm telling you, talking about a Christmas holiday. Most people celebrating gifts in the natural, but I got to celebrate a spiritual gift of healing. I got to celebrate a gift of spiritual peace that surpasses all my understanding. Like, oh my goodness, when I tell you the pain, God, I watched God erase the pain, and I didn't know how I was coming up out of it. And this is why I said this is the season of the comeback. You don't have to take your life. You don't have to cope anymore. You don't have to, feel good from the things that are destroying you. You don't have to allow those voices in your head to manipulate and to control you and to make you think that it's the right thing to do, or to go back to the abusive relationship, or to go back to places, to dark places that bring no value and add no substance to your life. And so my story of healing, when it comes to the pain, you have to be very sensitive. You have to have an ear to hear what the Spirit of the Lord is saying if you want to get to that place of total healing and peace.
Yes.
And I know my friends and my family, they have seen the transformation. They feel it. They feel the presence. You understand what I'm saying? So now when I get back on the stage, I get back on the stage in wholeness. I don't speak from a place of anger. I don't speak from a place of pain. I speak from a place of liberty. I speak from a place of healing. I speak from a place that if he did it for me, he can do it for you. And this is why this is the season of the comeback. My God, I feel God.
Ooh, honey, that's a testimony right there.
Yes.
And it's a
Yes.
timely testimony, Paula, because, I'm sure a lot of people are aware at this point in time that I believe Miss USA, the former Miss USA, Chelsea
Yes.
Christ, she
Yes.
committed suicide recently. And I believe her
My
mother was
God.
saying that she suffered from a high functioning depression that people didn't know about. And then Regina King's song, 26 years old, committed suicide. So it's out here, it's prevalent. I mean, people are going through so much when it comes to just holding on to pain and not being able to find a release. And you've just really given some great information on the mindset, and sometimes people don't feel like they have an out. People don't feel like anyone understands what they're going through. And, with the pandemic being here, it put people in such dark places when it came to not only losing loved ones, going through the illness themselves and wondering whether or not they were going to make it through on the other side, looking at the fact that jobs were shutting down, they were being furloughed, not knowing how they were going to, get to pay their bills or do anything else. It's just so much fear and uncertainty during that time. And it threw a lot of people into spaces that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have been in, or maybe they could have been resilient to bounce back. But when you look at that, and when you look at the news, and when you see it's always every day, it's more and more deaths, it's more and more deaths, that can put such a strain on your mental that it allows you sometimes to feel like you have nowhere else to go. And so I'm so appreciative of you being on here to share some of those thoughts, processes, because sometimes people who may not have been there can understand, but this really gives people an opportunity to see, wow, the mindset can have you in a deep, dark space. And if it feels good, and for people who haven't been there, you can't understand it. But when you're in the midst of that pain, when you're in the midst of, just that darkness, sometimes you embrace where you're at instead of fighting to get past it. So thank God for you sharing your testimony. And I even know that now when you speak about the comeback, you're even on ClubHouse now, doing a Bible study called The Comeback. And
Yes.
speaking about why are people walking away from the faith?
Yes.
Paula, how did that get started? And tell us a little bit more about that, because it's such a powerful topic for now when people are losing faith left and right in all things.
Right. Well, I want to say this, Angela, before I go into that comeback Bible study, that pain is not prejudice,
It's
and
powerful.
it's not prejudice, and it's not racist. And my best friend who works for Reverend Jesse Jackson, she was really good friends with the CEO of MATA, who decided to commit suicide. He jumped in front of a train here in Atlanta at the East Lake train station. Now, this man is making over $380,000 a year.
Wow.
So, pain, suicidal thoughts, that spirit is not prejudice. You understand what I'm
Yes.
saying? So if you don't have any money, if you have money, if you have fame, fortune, and all this stuff, it don't matter. And we have to understand that the things of this world, like materialism and all this stuff, is not going to bring you the peace, the joy. It is not going to bring you what you think you need. A
Right.
lot of us go after things because that's what we want. And so when God did it for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I needed. I needed to get back. See, I walked away from the faith 3 years ago. And I denied God. I didn't want any association, and I connected with people who were in these dark places, very wealthy people, and they were serving other gods, false gods, and altars with skull heads and all these different things. I'm not saying that I prayed to the skull head, but I was in the midst of it. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So when God delivered me, he showed me the places that I had been. And he was just like, he said, now, Paula, the reason why I've restored you is because you decided to call upon me. And you got to understand, God responds to faith.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It says it's impossible to please God without faith.
Yes.
And I said, oh my God. So all I had to do was just call on you by faith. I just had to say, please come rescue me. That's all I had to say. I didn't have to go to nobody's church building. I didn't have to go and fast for 40 days. I didn't have to do all these rituals that I was taught, coming up in a Baptist church. I'm a fourth generation preacher. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes PKs are like the worst children. You understand? Honey, we want to do everything else other than what God's telling us to do, because we want to rebel. You understand?
Yes.
And so, honey, I went all the way out there. I went all the way out there and got swallowed up in the belly of a whale, and not doing what God wanted me to do. And I said, God, if you get me out 2021, I'll preach your word. I'll share the love of Christ, not be a judgmental Christian. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why this Bible study every Tuesday night on the ClubHouse platform, God allowed me to create the Comeback BibleStudy Series with Paula R. Amor. And this platform is a non-judgment zone. I don't care what you believe, how you believe, where you believe, because I just believe. Just like David, when David went up against Goliath and all David had was 5 smooth stones, it wasn't the stone in the slingshot that killed Goliath. It was the faith behind the stone in the slingshot. And so God said, if you step out on me and hold this Bible study, and just share the word, share the goodness, share the light, share a piece of bread with anybody, whosoever will, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be your faith that's going to bring them into a place of peace and joy and understanding for those that really want it, those that want to activate their faith. And so I'm excited every Tuesday night. And then in March, we're going to start streaming live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Oh, awesome.
So by then we'll have the studio set up and everything. So I'm really, really excited about that, Angela.
Yes, as you should be. I think it's just a phenomenal platform for you to be able to talk to people and meet them where they are. For a lot of people, sometimes they have a fear of going into buildings because they feel like, they're going to be judged or no one will understand. But to
Right.
have a platform where people can come as they are, no judgment zone, I think that's just such a beautiful thing to offer someone who, may not know what they need, may, be looking for something and not
Right.
know what it is. I think I saw where you have posted before where sometimes people are addicted to people, and you don't know if you're looking for acceptance, affection, affirmation, or
Right.
stimulation, but you just know you're looking for
Right.
something, and it ultimately is going to be fulfilled, in having the faith in your creator. And so I
That's
just
right.
I'm so grateful for you being able to get to this point where you can offer that to so many people who are in desperate need. But let me say this, Paula, we're talking about the comeback. And
Hmm.
so how do you reposition yourself for greatness?
Wow. So there's levels to it. You know what I'm saying? I can't, I can tell people how I reposition myself for
Mm-hmm.
success and greatness. Like I said, one, I had to go on a sabbatical. Like I said, I came back and I started performing in different venues and different things like that, but I still was feeling empty and void. And it's like, okay, but there's more. There's higher heights and deeper depths that I need to obtain. So, and there's some people, like if I could have gotten to a Regina King's son, you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If I could have sat down with Jeff, I think his first name was Jeff, the CEO of Amor, and I have access to certain people. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, okay, yes, you have the gift, yes, you have the production company, but how can you position yourself to sit down and share your greatness with greatness? You understand what I'm saying? To get
Right.
them to navigate through some of their mental struggles. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I had to get quiet. I had to get somewhere and get still. I canceled the beginning of my tour. I was scheduled to start the tour January the 29th. I canceled that. I postponed it, let me say. I postponed it. And I got somewhere for about maybe a good month. And I just began to pray. I prayed. I consecrated myself. I started to evaluate my circle, my
Mm.
association with people. You
Yeah.
got to understand, sick people can't help sick people.
Ooh.
So if we're all in the emergency room, you understand, you can tell who's sick in your circle. You can tell
Right.
every time you call somebody and there's no elevation going on there. There's no positive conversation going on there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no self help within themselves. They're trying to they want to stay stuck. You understand what I'm saying? They want to stay in
Yes.
like 2019, and I'm not in 2019 anymore. So why are we having conversations about 2019? I just don't understand. You know what I'm
Ooh.
saying? And so I started to do an inventory of my personal life, my business, ministry, family. You understand what I'm saying? And I
Yes.
said, and I had to sit down, just like any business owner should sit down and look at their assets and their liabilities. And that's what I begin to do, because I'm setting myself up, and God is allowing me to set myself up for greatness, but being successful at building relationships.
That's
The
good.
kind of relationships that will cause a harvest, what like if you want corn, I want to make sure that the cornfield that I am sowing into, that is going to reap the right kind of harvest. If it's
Yes.
apples, if it's bananas, you understand what I'm saying? And I
Yes.
can even let you know, like, multiple streams of income. I position myself to do just that. So if my association is not bringing profit spiritually, mentally, financially, then you have to start purging. You have to start cutting away the things that will hinder you and hold you back, or try to bring you back to a place called Egypt, a place of depression, a place of pain. So now you have to evaluate those situations. You understand what I'm saying? And so this
Yes.
is why this is called the Great Comeback, because we have to do an evaluation. If that young lady who jumped off of that building, Miss America, my God, 2019, I think that was
Mm.
2019 when she won Miss America. And I think that year, like, women of color was just winning all of those
Yes.
different areas. If she would have taken the time out to take a break, because from my understanding, my research, she was busy doing all kinds of things. Like she was connected to all kinds of celebrities. She was also a host for ET or something like that, right?
Yes, for Extra, I believe. Mm-hmm.
Extra, right, Extra. And if she would have taken a break, sometimes because things are moving so fast, you know what I'm saying? Everything that glitters for real ain't
It's
gold.
not gold.
And I don't care if it's in Hollywood or in Bankhead, honey, everything that glitters ain't gold, and everything that's glitter is not for you.
So true, so true.
Yeah, so that's what I would suggest. But you got to hear the Spirit of God for yourself, because my prescription, because I was so sick, what God prescribed for me may not be for you. And so I'm going to be setting up a mentorship program on just allowing people to find that place.
Yeah.
You know, how do I get to this place of success? First of all, you have to learn how to be successful behind closed doors when it's just you.
Ooh, that's good.
Because what you think about yourself when nobody's around. You see, we're so social media driven, and likes. We want likes, and we want all these different things, and we're here to please the people. But if you can't please yourself behind closed doors,
praise Paula.
Oh my God, I'm trying to help somebody.
That's
today.
A whole word right there. That now for somebody that just released them and helped them all the way.
Yes, that right there. Because I had to find that place, Angela. I had to get behind closed doors for real, take off the mask and say, Paula, come on now. Because I'll post pictures, me smiling, me dressed down to the nine, honey, and I'm like, how many likes? Oh, I only got 14 likes, and it's been an hour now. I'm like, something wrong. No, something wrong with you. That you feel like your success is based off of likes. Ooh. How about you get behind closed doors and you like yourself?
Amen
that's the season we're in. That's the season we're in, Angela.
Yes. Listen, I know that throughout the conversation in the beginning, you were speaking about, just the gifts. And Proverbs 18:16 says, your gifts will make room for you and put you in front of great men. And I believe that, God has allowed you to go through and experience and see things for such a time as this. And now your gifts, that eloquence of speech, that discernment, that ability to be resilient and tell people and come from a space that's not judgmental, but that is super wanting to help people. I think that is going to be what is needed during this season so that people can come back. And a lot of times, what they say, come back to the remembrance of who you are and whose you are, because we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And that's where we have been, out in the wilderness all this time. And to be honest with you, I really believe that in the pandemic, it gave us time to sit with ourselves. And for a lot of people, you didn't like who you were. You didn't like what you were sitting with. And so again, you're going to have to tap into getting okay with who you are first and foremost before you can do anything else. And I think that right there is some of the best advice ever, because you can't run around and be expecting somebody else to like you when you don't even like yourself. So it does start with the inner work. It does start with healing from the things that, we don't want to reveal. We're dealing with a lot of things that we push down and push back. And, back in the day, what they say, what goes on in this house stays in this house. So you keep it quiet. But when you keep things quiet, when you mute yourself, you don't allow yourself to heal and be able to move forward. So when you're in that space, you can't believe that there is greatness out there. So you've got to do that inner work. You've got to get that piece covered first. And then you can start believing and then leading yourself to where you need to be at. So Paula, I am so grateful for you being on this platform, for the information that you have shared. Can you please let people know what you got coming up, and then of course how they can get in contact with you?
So listen, I have the Regal, the American Black Woman Encounter Conference that's happening in the month of April. I'm going to definitely get back with you, Angela, let you know exactly the date. As of right now, we're looking at anywhere between April the 2nd or April the 12th. It all depends, right? And this platform is open to men and women, men and women of all colors, religion, it doesn't even matter. There's going to be a performance. I'll be performing Regal, the American Black Woman, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to speak. I'm going to speak to every person that's in the room. Trust me, it'll be a message that will meet you wherever you are. And then also, like I said, the Comeback Bible study is going to be on Tuesday evenings, 7 p.m., the ClubHouse platform. And then I'm also going to be doing a Testifier Friday, where I bring on people that they're going to share testimonies, because we got away from testimony services, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and so just to share testimonies, and I mean, it's just going to be a wonderful time. And then I will also have the audiobook coming out, Regal, the American Black Woman, and some other books that will be hitting my website, Regal, the American Black Woman. And how you can get in contact with me, you can always find me on every social media platform at Paula R. Amor, and my name is spelled Paula, the initial R, Amor. I'm Paula R. Amor, and thank you so much, Angela. I do appreciate this time with you.
You are so welcome. I know that you have richly blessed so many people and given them food for thought in how they show up in the world and how they handle, some of the things that they have been dealing with in private. And so, again, everyone, please reach out, connect with Paula, follow her for the Regal Black Woman conference that's coming up in April. Again, social media handles Paula R. Amor, PaulaRAMOR, so that you can connect with her. I'm telling you, this is a powerful lady. And again, when you listen to this, please share it, like it, follow us so that you can connect and listen to more powerful people who are coming on here, sharing stories that help you to motivate from the inside out. Because again, you can get motivated, but the best motivation comes from you. You can be empowered, but you first need to empower yourself. And so when you can do that, you become unstoppable. You begin to find a way to get yourself to greatness. And so that's what we're all looking for, is to be the best version of ourselves. So again, this is InnerVation, motivating you from the inside out, the podcast. Again, I'm your host, Angela A. Love Lewis. Thank you so much for being with us. And we pray and hope that everything is going to be well in life. And we look forward to being with you again the following Tuesday. You guys take care and be blessed.